it would be, don't lose sight of your strengths. Because I spent a number of years listening to my ego, listening to Alicia, like, oh, the next job title, the next promotion, a bigger salary. But there's this thing called arrival fallacy, which is when you get the promotion, the job title, the whatever you're striving for, you get that little hit of dopamine and things feel kind of good for a while. But if the foundations of your house aren't built on the right things, at some point it's going to fall down. And mine fell down spectacularly with my demotion. And so I would just encourage your listeners to think about, what are my strengths, the things that energize and motivate me, and how can I bring that to life as much as I possibly can?
Yeah, it's so hard to do that in your job, isn't it? If you're in a corporate environment and like you're head of market, even if you're like one of the marketing team, 25 or something, and the company culture is a certain way, you can have an effect on, like we've talked about, the areas of influence that you've got, but you can't. I suppose you can't change the vision of the company. Like, so it's back to your thing. Maybe you need to review the company that you're working with if that environment isn't. But you're just striving. When you're young, you're striving. You're resilient. You're going for every promotion. You're going for and then you get there and you're like, I'm here now. Is this it?
Well, and then you know, I've spoken to a lot of people who are perhaps a little bit later on in their careers, and they've chased the promotions, the job titles, they've got used to a certain style of living, they've got a mortgage that demands that they need to earn a certain amount, and you suddenly go, but I'm not happy. Like, is this it? Is this what I always dreamed of when I was growing up? And it just, I think, gets harder and harder to unpick as you get older and older, because you have more responsibilities. And that's not to say that you can't unpick it. I think the first step is recognizing that perhaps you're not exactly where you might want to be, and taking incremental action. Like, I didn't wake up one day and go, I'm going to start a business and it's going to be called Badass Unicorn and it's going to be working with these types of clients. I woke up one day and went, oh, wow, those dreams I want, I'm going to go out and make them come true. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet, but this small action I'm going to do today is send that wince and send email to the client saying, I charge £500 for a talk. Would you pay it? And my wince and send action today is I'm going to write a LinkedIn post and put it out there, even though I'm terrified. And my wince and send action today is to reach out to that person for a curiosity coffee. So I need to find a better way of communicating this, because death by 1,000 cuts doesn't really feel that positive. But making your dreams come true is about the small, incremental, everyday actions that compound and compound and compound. And you surprise yourself then when you look back and say, wow, I've come a long way. Like, last week I went to speak at the Marketing Academy. Do you guys know the Marketing Academy? Have you heard of the Marketing Academy? So I was on the scholarship 8 years ago. And I finally, after a lot of asking, by the way, was invited to come back and speak to the scholars, right? I got the graveyard shift just before dinner. They squeezed me in. And but nonetheless, I love it. One of my other mentors, who was also speaking that day, he was like, I got the closing keynote. And I was like, well, that's a better way than the graveyard shift, isn't it? And it really got me reflecting on, wow, what would the me of 8 years ago think? And I think overwhelmingly she would be extremely proud of how far I've come, but it didn't happen by accident. And it was really a case of taking those small steps in the right direction. When I talk about your career path, a lot of people find the idea of a North Star overwhelming. So I like to tell them to imagine that your dream life is like a lake covered in lots and lots of lily pads. You're on one side of the lake, your dream future's on the other side. And all you have to do is follow the scent by leaping from lily pad to lily pad across this path in this squiggly kind of journey, remembering that there are no wrong turns, dead ends, or decisions that you can't move away from. And if you're following the scent of the things that energize and motivate you, it would be hard to go too far wrong. And the beautiful thing that I've found is that as I have got closer to what my North Star vision is, the closer that my North Star vision has sort of come in. So it's almost like as I become more and more fulfilled by what I'm doing, some of the grandiose things like having 1 million followers or a best-selling book or whatever those things might be become less important, because I'm much more satisfied in the life that I'm living every day.
Wow.
Amazing.
This is a fascinating conversation for sure. Now, we always ask our guests this, and I'm sure you've met and consulted and trained and worked with so many interesting people.